Hey guys, it's Nicole. I am getting ready to sort of sit down and work on sketch number 1 from the Allison Davis 6x6 paper pad class. Again, I'm not going to be showing the sketches. That's kind of part of what you pay for when you order the class. Before I kind of get going, I just want to show you some of the stuff that I had pulled and the layout that I had done when I did this class previously. So I've got my pictures that I'm going to use pulled out. I'm probably not going to use all of them. And then I'm not sure why, because I don't think that I've used the rest of this pad. So I'm not really sure where the rest of it went, but I have part of this Simple Stories I Heart Summer 6x6 pad, so this is what I'm going to use. And then Simple Stories is probably my favorite manufacturer, so I went through my Simple Stories stuff and pulled out, I have the alphas and the label stickers for that line, and then I have most of the 12x12 stickers left. And again, I'm just using stuff from my stash. I'm not like buying anything specific or going back and trying to find embellishments that match paper pads or anything like that, because a lot of my stuff is very old. I also remembered that I had purchased this pad at Hobby Lobby, and it's got 4 sheets of paper from that same line. And the only reason that I pulled this was in case I wanted to incorporate any kind of like 12-inch border strips, or even like a strip spanning the 2 layouts, just because sketch 1 has some open white space. And the first time that I did the class, I just kind of, I don't know, I had a hard time with it. So I'm kind of just giving myself the freedom that if I feel like I need to wallpaper my layout with pattern paper, I'm going to. I'm still following the sketches, I'm still using my 6x6 paper pads, but I'm going to make it work for me. I'm not going to stress out about it. I'm not going to make myself feel like I have to follow the sketch. It's just kind of a jumping off point. And then for all 11 sketches, I pulled these 2 pads to kind of incorporate with anything, mostly for printing computer generated journaling, or if I need a plain color or to do some die cutting or something. Same thing with this one. There was a couple sheets in the back that kind of had some good patterns that I could either stamp on or do my journaling on. So I pulled those, and then for this particular sketch, because I'm doing photos from swimming and like summer and stuff like that, I just pulled a couple stamp sets. So I've got this one, and these are old Technique Tuesday stamp sets, and I'll talk about that one in a second. And then this one is a Lawn Fawn Milo's ABCs. And then I just got these this week for my favorite things, so I was kind of thinking about possibly using something like this as far as maybe embellishments, or if, and not just on this sketch, but if some of the sketches call for like little photos and I don't have any, I can use something like this and just kind of embellish in the Polaroid frame. So, and then like I said, when I go to do the pages, any previous layouts that I've done with that sketch, I'll go ahead and show you just so you kind of have an idea as far as what the sketch could possibly have looked like, to see if you're interested in purchasing that class. I know some sketches work for some people, some don't. So from what I remember with sketch 1, there was one full 6x6 that you were kind of focusing on, and it was, I saw some of the girls chose to use maybe one of the patterns that had like a big embellishment on it, or just kind of used it as a place to do like big embellishing. When I did this, I stuck very close to the sketch. The sketch showed a lot of these like layered banners, so that was what I did. I believe the sketch showed some hand stitching here. I just decided to tie some twine, and then when I did it, I went ahead and added these strips across the pages. Like I said, it felt like when I had this stuff on here that it was just kind of floating around. So I just kind of, you know, put my toe in the water and just kind of added a couple strips. And then these little clusters I just kind of added on my own. this on the sketch was kind of represented as like a journaling block. So what I did was I just printed out a little bit of information. I did a little bit of stamping right here, and then I colored this with my Copic markers. So this was kind of in the back of my mind when I was pulling stuff, and I saw this one and I was thinking maybe using this one. I'm not sure, only because I, for whatever reason, cannot find either of the two options that I have for paper for coloring with Copic. Can't find it in a box, can't find it in my room. Hoping I moved it, I don't know. I stopped at Target today and the only thing they had was this 65-pound weight, which I don't think works for Copics. I'm gonna try it anyways and just kind of see. I may not use this, but I might play around and just kind of see if it ends up working with the summer line. I don't know. But if it doesn't work for Copics, it's still, I can still print like journaling strips and do like basic stamping, so that's fine. I just didn't feel like waiting and ordering online to get the 80-pound Nina is what I usually use. I have some, can't find it. So hopefully it turns up at some point. So, like I said, this one is very close to the sketch. I think I added, this I think was a 4x6 on the sketch, so I ended up breaking it up into 2. Now, the photos that I picked, they're not going to fit in like the same configuration, so I'm going to end up just kind of making it fit, laying them out, and kind of seeing what areas I have left to work with. And then I'm thinking instead of doing the banners and stuff, I might treat this as just kind of like a 6x6 area to sort of decorate or embellish, or even do like a big title and put my journaling here, and then just kind of have something smaller over here with like the date or that type of information. But as far as where the photos are going to be laid out, I'm not, until I kind of start trimming these down and kind of seeing how much of the background I can cut out and sort of what I have left over is sort of where it's going to go. I'm trying to sort of embrace this. It doesn't have to look exactly like the sketch. Like, that's where my mind goes. Like, if you give me instructions to do something, I'm going to follow it all the way through. So I'm probably going to just kind of look at the sketch, kind of get an idea of what I want, and then I'm going to put it away. And whenever I do that, I tend to forget about it, and then it kind of opens up to where I can just do whatever I want. And it kind of ends up forcing myself to not only find my own style, but go with my own style. And I don't feel like I have a style, and that's fine with me. Like, I'm fine with scrap lifting, I'm fine with doing kits. It's okay with me because I ultimately want to be able to go back and look at my albums and be like, oh, I like this. I don't care if 50 other people online bought the same kit and have the same layout. It doesn't bother me. I like it. That's what I want to do. So I'm going to get started with everything and take you along for my process. Okay, so to get started, I have already trimmed down my photos here, and one of them I did trim a little bit narrower than I actually needed to, but I'm going to sort of fix that later. And I didn't really follow the suggested photo sizes on the sketch. For whatever reason, the first couple sketches I tend to struggle with. So this time around, what I ended up doing was I just kind of looked at the sketch, got a basic idea as far as photo placement, paper placement, and kind of just purposely lost it on my desk and kind of just went my own way with it. The left is very close to the actual sketch, and the right I sort of maybe enlarged it and squared it off a little bit. And I had pulled out these 2 pattern papers from that 6x6 pad. One of them I'm going to use as sort of a title area, and the one on the right I'm going to end up doing some embellishing and some computer generated journaling. In here I have pulled this multicolor chevron from the pad of paper that I showed previously in the video. I decided that I wanted to kind of just put some strips of it going across the page to just kind of, I don't even want to say fill in, because I ended up filling in most of the white space that was bothering me by enlarging everything. I just kind of like having those strips sort of spanning the page, and I tend to like to have at least one pattern on my layout that has all of the colors that I'm sort of using. So it was kind of why I went with this particular pattern. And I was kind of disappointed that when I opened the pad of paper that I had purchased at Hobby Lobby, they're the same patterns, but they almost look like if you took a picture of it and you enlarged it a tiny bit. So it's a little bit kind of grainy, and it's sort of stretched past the 12 by 12 size, if that makes sense. So I probably won't use any of those papers for anything like special, or I won't like hoard them or whatever. I'm gonna end up using them, because I think if you mix them in with the actual papers from the collections, it's not as noticeable. I noticed it more on the sheet of paper that was 12 3x4 cut aparts. Some of the edges were kind of cut off. And so here I'm just kind of figuring out where I want the paper and the pictures in the middle to sort of meet up. And I'm just kind of sizing everything down so that they will be the same height across the gutter in the middle. And again, I'm not really working on one particular page at a time. I'm sort of just trying to figure out what it is that I want to do as I go along. And those two photos, I ended up trimming them down to about 3x4. The sketch showed a portrait size 4x6. So, and I've done this before. The sketches are really easy to kind of look at them and either take the left or take the right, or just take elements of it and make it into a single page layout. And I'm going to do it on a later sketch. In a couple weeks, I made myself a note to convert the 2-page sketch into a 1-page. But the left side of this particular sketch would be perfect for those situations where you have one portrait and one landscape photo, and then you just grab a 6x6 sheet of paper and kind of go from there. And here I had just kind of grabbed my basket of letter stickers. I didn't really feel like making a title and cutting it out on my Cameo, so I just decided to kind of go and use up some letter stickers from my stash. And I don't even know like the names of thickers or if they came from collection. Like I have some that were from kit clubs. I have some that I've just kind of grabbed at Hobby Lobby. When it comes to thickers and letter stickers, I don't really care like what their name is or where they came from. I know a lot of people like to know, oh, these are from the Maggie Holmes collection or this and that. My brain does not remember names of thickers and letter stickers. So I'm just kind of grabbing different letters, and I just kind of was doing different colors. And I'm going to just be spelling out 7th birthday pool party, and then later I had found a little phrase sticker that I'll add to the top of that as kind of an addition to the title as well. And I keep forgetting that I have these Doodlebug stickers, because this is one of those fonts that I've always loved, and I kind of keep forgetting that I even have them. And even looking at it right now, I realize that I never put the dot to the I on there, so I'll have to go back before I put my layout away. I also noticed I forgot to date it, so I need to go back and just get a date stamp and kind of tuck that somewhere on the layout. These are those die cuts that I showed at the beginning of the video. I decided to just take some white cardstock and cut a couple of them out. And then I'm just going to go back through... Oh, first I switched over to the journaling. So I grabbed the other 6x6 paper that I had pulled out, and it was just a very light sort of tone-on-tone ledger. I don't know if it'll show up in the video at all. And I just ran it through my printer. The first time I printed it is what you were seeing there. I was checking the line spacing, and it was my lines were spread out too far apart, so I just went back and squished them closer together and ran it through my printer. And then I'm just kind of playing around with those Polaroid frames to kind of see what I like, what I want to do. And when I originally sat down, there is another photo off to the side of my desk that I wanted to crop down and put in the largest Polaroid frame, and it was one of those things that I completely forgot about. And you'll see it in the still photos because I ended up going back and adding it to the title area, and I just decided to leave that out of the video. I didn't even film it. I mean, I literally just attached it, trimmed it, and put a little sticker on the photo. And so here I'm going ahead and I'm putting down that 6x6 sheet of paper, and now you can see where I'm going to have that gap above the paper where it's not meeting the top of my photos. So I'm going to go ahead and put papers behind the Polaroid photos, and I was kind of just trying to think of something that I could kind of do to cover up that gap. And I don't really have like a rhyme or reason. I just grab whatever patterns are my favorites. I don't really look at like rules of color or anything like that. I grab the patterns that I like, that I think are cute, and I kind of go with that. And then I just took my scissors and trimmed them off of the paper. And then this was probably, for whatever reason, what took me the longest, was just sort of trying to decide, you know, where to put those things. Like, I'm not good with embellishment clusters and sort of having things balanced. Like, I probably should have cut a couple extra Polaroids and put them over on the left, and I may end up going back and doing it. I don't know. I'm kind of in the mindset that it's done. I've already taken photos of it. I'm doing the process video for it. Like, I don't know that I really want to go back and add anything else to it. Here I was looking for these little bingo cards because I knew I wanted to cut a couple of those out, and I was kind of trying to figure out what I'm going to fill that little gap in with, and I decided to just kind of put a little strip of paper. I was hoping that there would have been a border sticker that was sort of tall enough to kind of span that entire gap, but there wasn't. So I decided to just trim down some of this darker wood plank looking paper and just kind of fill it in, and then I'll put the sticker on top. And then as far as the bingo cards, I just kind of looked for ones that were colors that I either wanted or needed, and the wording on the top kind of fit with my photos. I don't have it with me right now, and I can't read it from here, but some of the ones on there weren't like swimming related, so I didn't pick any of those. I just kind of picked the two that I liked the color and I liked what it said. And then just kind of trying to decide what I want to sort of fill in the open areas on the little 6x6 paper. And I played around with these for a while. Like I said, I'm always amazed when I watch process videos and people can just put these cute little clusters together, and it's like second nature to them. I am just kind of like, ooh, I don't know. Maybe? No? Not gonna work? Like, I just kind of play around with it and then kind of, you know, hope for the best. And then I'm just grabbing, I really like the little phrase stickers, so I grabbed a couple of those to just add a little bit of color. And then that little blue sticker said something about swimming, so I grabbed that one. And then I realized that I had forgotten to back that little tiny Polaroid with some pattern paper. I'm really glad that I went ahead and pulled the trigger on those little Polaroid dies. I had them on my wish list, and I had kind of kept going back and forth for a long time on those. And for me, it's one of those things where it's like, for whatever reason, I just think that those little steel dies are so expensive, but they're so cute. So it's one of those things, like, I have to kind of have like a lot of plans for a set of dies before I purchase them. Here's my upside down photo of my journaling. Couldn't get it to flip. The title area, and you can see I added the photo, and then another shot of the entire layout. Thanks for watching.